Welcome to episode 125 of the Kennel, following the greatest and best, most entertaining and exciting and wonderful thing I've ever seen with my own two eyes. It's the post-game show for the Browns and Cowboys. How you feeling, Gian?
I'm feeling ecstatic after that game. My week is made. I'm good for the rest of the week.
I'm good forever. We should just end the season now.
Yeah.
And we'll just end on that high note. I'm kidding. We have to keep it going for sure. But through the first quarter of the season, the Browns are 3-1. We beat a couple bad teams. I had to hear, oh, it's just the Bengals. Oh, it's just the Washington football team. Well, it's the Dallas Cowboys, #1 offense in the NFL.
America's team, but not anymore.
And we destroyed them in Dallas. Best thing I've ever seen in my life. Browns win 49-38. You're tuned into the Kennel. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram @FootballKennel. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, make sure you rate 5 stars, leave a comment, all that crap. If you're on YouTube, subscribe, like, notification bell, blah, 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 blah. Enough panhandling. I say we get into this game. We're going to do the post game. We're going to do #Kennel Quick Predicts results. I already told you to follow us and do all that crap. So any comments before we start breaking this game down?
No, let's just go into it.
Let's just get right into it. I'm way too excited for it. Let's do it.
Game review.
All right, starting it out. Obviously, like you mentioned, the Browns win 49-38 at Cowboy Stadium. We're 3-1. Holy crap! Can you believe it? The Cowboys are 1-3 after that loss to the poor old Browns. And we have a nice list of facts here.
So many facts.
So many facts.
So many facts.
So we'll start it off. It's the first time the Browns have scored 28-plus points in the first half of a game since 1991.
The year I was born.
The year I was born.
That's right, and we're almost 30.
Yeah.
So that's significant.
That's rough.
It's a significant amount of time.
Yeah. It's the first time the Browns have 30 points in 3 straight games since 1968.
Was not born yet.
Yeah, not alive for that.
No, not alive at all. No.
First time the Browns are 3-1 since 2001.
I was there for that.
We've waited.
Davis.
Waited some time for that.
Butch Davis.
But we're finally back, 3-1.
Tim Couch was still on the team. Look at this. I think both these guys were. It's the last time. Tim Couch, Anthony Henry.
That's
hilarious.
The last time.
It might have been Anthony Henry's rookie year.
It's a long time.
Wow.
Man. Some Cowboys stats, mostly just about Dak. He threw for 174 yards and 2 touchdowns in the first quarter, which are the most passing yards by a Cowboys quarterback in the first quarter of any game in franchise history.
Seems significant.
And as we'll
kind of hurts.
Go further into the game review, obviously, and I'm sure if you watch the game, you know he did some ridiculous things.
Yeah, dude, how is this guy not getting a contract? We said it in the pregame episode. Dak Prescott is hella good.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry.
Hey, man.
I'm sorry his defense sucks, and you can talk about the coaching, whatever you want to talk about.
And the running game also has been pretty non-existent for them this year so far.
Haven't had the chance to develop it. Dak Prescott's
Their offensive line has gone through like 17 million
tons
iterations.
Of injuries. Myles Garrett was going up against the backup of a backup, which is a recipe for disaster, and he feasted. We'll get into that.
They got back their left tackle and then lost their center after the first snap of the game. So, yeah,
can't win.
Going through some struggles.
Speaking of Dak Prescott, and I've seen this stat said 3 different ways. He's the first quarterback in NFL history with over 425 passing yards in 3 consecutive games. I've also seen it said the first with over 400 yards in 3 consecutive games and the first with over 450 yards in 3 consecutive games. So I'm not sure exactly what... The more of the story is it's ridiculous. He's on pace for something like 6,500 yards, which would beat the record by 1,000 yards, which is...
Jesus.
He's playing Madden out there. Dak Prescott plays NFL football like I play Madden.
Yeah.
It's
just slings the ball out there.
It's incredibly
They live
impressive.
and die by the pass game. We also said that in the pre-episode. If you for some reason want to check that out first, I guess.
You can do that.
Go do that. But back to the Browns, the team that matters. Just a fun tidbit here. The last 2 teams to score 49-plus points against the Cowboys in Dallas went on to reach the Super Bowl. 2004 Eagles and the 2013 Broncos.
Is that an omen?
I don't know, but it sure seems like a funky coincidence.
I think it's an omen.
It's okay.
Browns Super Bowl confirmed.
I'd be down.
Duh.
Even in the COVID era. Worth it.
I'll take it. If anything, this is like the hardest year to win with a rookie head coach and
no crowd everywhere you go.
Yeah, tiny preseason that we had to deal with.
That's true. Good point.
I mean, there's a million things.
Next, Kevin Stefanski ties Hugh Jackson's 3 Browns win in just 4 games.
Yeah, it took Hugh Jackson 40 games.
Yeah.
10 times as long. And that's not really fair.
We can't really say much either. We were huge apologists of Hugh Jackson.
It's not really fair.
It's fair to bring up.
I mean, it happened.
They're not comparable rosters by any means. It happened.
It definitely happened.
Right. Do we have the right guy? Question mark, question mark.
I'll say it now. I don't care. I'm 100% sold on Kevin Stefanski.
Oh, yeah.
No matter what happens, we could lose the rest of the games, and I will be arguing like how we tried to fight for Hugh.
If we were diehards for Hugh, we have to be.
We tried to fight for Freddie.
Triple diehards for Stefanski.
Yeah, we tried to fight for Freddie. I feel 100 times better about Kevin Stefanski. I don't have to convince myself.
No.
He's convinced me.
Yeah.
Like with Hugh and Freddie, I had to like lie to myself and lie to you, the listener. I'm sorry, but I had to try to justify
dumb decisions.
Yeah, I had to justify.
I know that didn't make any sense, but maybe it would have if it would have worked.
Yeah, he's trying his best. Yeah, I'm aware. But this is the first time where we were not skeptical of Kevin Stefanski, but we've been hurt too many times.
So we were, reluctant.
Reluctant, and I think he has more than earned our trust and admiration.
Yeah, well, I mean, we'll get into it.
Staff.
Yeah, for sure. We'll get into it as we dive more into the game, but obviously he faced some adversity going against the Cowboys after putting up, I think at that point we had 41 points, and they put it within 3 after doing some crazy things. They have already completed a crazy comeback this season, so it's not. I wouldn't put it past them to be able to have succeeded that if what happened with Odell Beckham, and then obviously the interception wouldn't have happened. I honestly was nervous before the interception that they were going to do it anyways. Seriously. They're that scary with the passing game.
Very scary. They scored 24 unanswered points in the fourth quarter.
My point ultimately was that Kevin Stefanski didn't move away from his plan.
No, he kept it chill.
The game plan...
He kept it chill, and in the post,
solid.
Yeah, and he kept it chill. And in the post game, you heard all of our players saying that they were prepared for this all week. They knew that the Cowboys could come back. The coaches were preaching it all week, and when it happened, they were ready for it.
Sure.
And it took
even keel.
Pretty much. And granted, it was scary, and you don't want to see it happen
as a fan, for sure. But I think internally, he looked.
Oh, he kept it chill. He keeps it chill the whole time, and even the players are. Like, in the post-game stuff, Baker's talking like, well, there's a lot of stuff we got to improve on. Things could have gone better. We got the W, but, he was like... He's
glad to hear that after he missed that third down pass to OBJ deep.
Yep, and he's like, we're moving on. So I think that's big, and that takes a lot of maturity, and that's coming directly from Kevin Stefanski. Never too high, never too low. He said that in the preseason. This is one of the first times ever where our head coach said things before the season and is now doing them in the season.
Yeah.
It's like every head coach
sticking
we have.
to the plan.
Yeah, every head coach we have is like a politician where they're like, we're gonna help the poor and we're gonna end corruption and it's gonna be amazing. And then they get elected and then it's the same thing. So that's what every Browns coach we've ever had has done. We're gonna be disciplined. We're gonna run
change
the ball. Change the culture. Every head coach has said we're gonna run the ball, and we just never run the ball. Now we'll get into the stats here shortly. We're running the ball. We're doing everything Kevin Stefanski said we were going to do.
Oh, yeah. We're running the ball. Should we just go to that one?
Look at that. Let's talk about that. This shit is...
A good thing, a good list of firsts for the Browns. The Browns are first in rushing yards, first in yards per carry, first in rushing touchdowns.
That's pretty significant.
Yeah.
We're leading the league in rushing yards per game because we have to let these two games finish on Monday night here because the Patriots and Packers are up there. But if you just look at a per game basis, I think second is like 178, and we're averaging over 200 yards a game now after putting up 306 last night. So number one in rushing yards per game. Number one in yards per carry. We're averaging 5.9 yards per carry as a team. Yesterday, we finished the game averaging like 7.7 yards per carry.
Every single one of our running backs except for Hilliard averaged seven something per carry. Hilliard was at 3.8, and I mean he had like 3 or 4.
Yesterday's game was a game of Madden.
Yeah.
It was like with Dak Prescott throwing for 500 yards and us running for over 300 yards. Like, it was literally a game of Madden. You get a little nervous with the defense, I get that, but this running attack is insane.
It's on another level, and it's everything we wanted it to be with the
forever my whole life. This is
Nick
all I've
Chubb,
ever wanted.
Kareem Hunt.
This is all I've ever wanted my whole life.
And 2 more firsts for the Browns are first in defensive takeaways and first in turnover differentials. After obviously no turnovers this game against the Cowboys, which we said was pivotal in our game preview episode, and also generating 3 turnovers against the Cowboys, which we also said was extremely important to get the win against this high-powered offense of the Cowboys. But we did it. And then just some Pro Football Focus stats, if you guys are interested in that. Are the two highest graded in offense and defense for the Browns was Wyatt Teller with 96.7 graded from Pro Football Focus, and then Myles Garrett for the third straight week with 84.7.
How good has Wyatt Teller been? We were concerned about the right guard because we had traded away Zeitler for Vernon, who's always hurt. He played in this game, made minimal impact, and we drafted Austin Corbett 2 picks before Nick Chubb. Thank God we got Nick Chubb. And he was a total bust. And then last year, the right guard position was constantly in flux, along with right tackle, left tackle. And we're like, man, this offensive line, what the hell's happening? And we got Wyatt Teller last year. He had some moments, but apparently this offseason, he worked out like crazy, studied like crazy, and this scheme fits his skill set more.
Also,
and he's been balling out of control.
Yeah, also, I feel like you gotta give credit to the rest of the guys. It's a lot easier to play that guard position when the rest of your line is who it is. Jack Conklin at right tackle, arguably one of the best, if not the best, at right tackle right now in the league. Left tackle Jedrick Wills, who is, I mean, so far seems like the guy at left tackle. Obviously,
he's the guy. I'm sold.
Joel Bitonio, the longest tenured Brown in our roster currently.
Love Joel Bitonio.
And, arguably one of the best, if not the best, left guard in the league, period, since he's been drafted.
You could make that argument.
Yeah. So that line is amazing, what we've been able to do. And then obviously Treader at center, reliable center.
Oh,
who's played through
all the injuries.
Yeah.
He's the president of the NFLPA
Players Association,
which is, I mean, that's big balls.
Sure.
As Ron Rivera would say.
Yeah.
They think they got the big balls.
Big balls.
Well, I'd argue J.C. Treader does.
He probably does, playing with the kind of injuries he's been playing through.
Yeah, he had like a broken ankle for a whole year, and we're like 3 and 13.
It was like a crazy high ankle sprain that might have been. Yeah.
We're winning no games, and he's just... It was Baker's rookie.
Putting it out there grinding.
Won some games, but no, the offensive line is beautiful. It's everything we've always wanted. Huge props to everybody on the front line. Bill Callahan, who's been phenomenal coming in as our offensive line coach. He's been beyond clutch, getting the whole unit together.
A lot of people saying that's you're seeing hints of his offense, at least for a running scheme.
And Kevin Stefanski is quick to give credit to him and everybody on the offensive staff.
Stump Mitchell
has been clutch, and it's truly collaborative. And that's what, again, going back to Kevin Stefanski saying in the offseason and then actually following through with it. He said a million times in the offense. Remember when we hired him, it was all about cohesion, kept saying cohesion. And then Kevin Stefanski kept saying it needs to be collaborative. We need to work together. We're going to collaborate. I'm going to take insight from all the coaches, all this different stuff. And we've heard coaches say that, but then their egos get in the way. And that's never the case.
Sure.
This is the first time where you can truly see that between Alex Van Pelt, between Callahan, Stefanski, Stump Mitchell, etc. You go all the way down the line. You actually have that.
Almost seems like they have a plan in place and everybody's down to follow it.
It's almost like they have a plan.
It's not nothing seems ego driven in this group.
It's almost like they have a plan.
Yeah.
What the hell?
But the biggest part, I think, is
a plan.
They have a plan. They all agree with the plan. It's not like they have a plan and then the offensive coordinator is going behind the coach's back to implement his own plan and undermine the head coach's plan.
No, they have a plan.
And the running backs go, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they're all in it.
Yeah.
They're all in it together. It's incredible.
I think that's the difference. I mean, I don't think, I know. That's the dysfunction we've heard from front office to coaching staff has always been either the coaching staff doesn't support the front office because it's not their pick for front office, so they're undermining each other, or the offensive coordinator was picked like the Hugh Jackson and Todd Haley situation where everybody knew that was going to be a butt of heads between two big-minded individuals on the offense that were both going to try to implement their own game. And what ended up happening, one undermining the other. Nobody had a plan going into the game. We're losing a bunch of games. Coaches get fired.
Everybody's fired.
Every time.
Everybody's fired.
And everybody gets fired.
Everybody's fired. That's what it has to be. So I think all that has been beautiful. And I want to keep talking about nice things, but we do have to address the elephant in the room, the big sadness.
Sad.
That came from this game, and it breaks my heart. But Nick Chubb going out with the injury. He's got a MCL sprain. He's not going to require surgery. He is going to go on the IR, but you can get off the IR after 3 weeks. But allegedly, the word on the street is it could be, and we like briefly argued about this because I was just like feeling passionate. You're like, hey, he's out 6 weeks. I was like, no, it's 3 weeks. He's 3 weeks. He'll be right back. But so 3 to 6 weeks is a fair assumption.
It's weird because, okay, so Cleveland media didn't get a straight up answer. Kevin Stefanski didn't give a straight up answer on how long it was going to be. But for some reason, I think he was one of the NFL main guys or like an ESPN guy tweeted it out, like national media guy tweeted out that it was likely going to be 6 weeks. So somehow they got the in, but the local media, which I mean wouldn't surprise me because our local
maybe the team just hates the local media.
It's totally possible.
Which
it could also be that the national media, it could be a fake source or something like that. I don't know, bad lead maybe.
Yeah, and they're going off several different factors. It definitely sucks.
Comparable injuries.
I mean, we just a couple episodes ago talked for like 10 minutes about how Nick Chubb's our favorite player,
and now he's out. Yeah.
So this really hurts.
After 6 carries and 43 yards, and looking like he was about to run for 200 yards.
Yeah, I want to say this based on how the game went. If Nick Chubb didn't go out, I honestly think he would have ran for 200 yards.
Oh yeah,
and that devastates me even more that he went out with the injury because there was so much potential for him to just rip this game apart. Which I mean, thankfully the other guys stepped up and did. But I mean, as much I can talk about how good Kareem Hunt is all day. I thought Ernest Johnson filled in very well. We'll talk more about him, but Nick Chubb is superior to all these guys. But I mean, Kareem Hunt,
you can definitely make the argument, but I was going to say Kareem Hunt is a proven every down back
for sure. But Nick Chubb is better. I don't care what anybody says.
I don't know, man. I think they're close. They're different style running backs, but they're close in talent and ability. Kareem Hunt was the rushing leader already in the NFL. Did it once.
He did it once, sure.
Yeah.
But Nick Chubb is the best running back in the history of football.
Okay.
So
favoritism and
it's a little rough.
You're a homer, I get it. But
no, I will say objectively, I do think Nick Chubb
football,
is.
You fucking made it.
I do think Nick Chubb is better than Kareem Hunt. But it's not
fair. Whatever.
This isn't a big down. It's like say we're in Madden, like Nick Chubb should be like a.
We can't. We shouldn't be having. This isn't even like.
I'm saying if I gave him ratings, like Nick Chubb's like a 97 overall, and then like Kareem Hunt's like a 94 overall.
I don't know that you can do that because in Madden you would account for his ability in the passing game, catching the ball out of the backfield. So you gotta pop up that.
No, I'm going Nick Chubb. Okay, I'll die on this hill.
You can.
I will die on this hill.
That's fine. We have them both in our roster. I will that's kind of the good thing about this.
I'll die on it.
But what I'm saying is Kareem. Yes, it sucks to lose Nick Chubb for 6 weeks, but we didn't have Kareem Hunt until like week 10 last season. What was it?
Yeah, he was suspended the first 8 games.
So when Nick Chubb went out, he was getting carried out of the field. Kareem Hunt, they dabbed each other up like he was tagging him in, tag team coming in, and they said some words to each other, and it looked like Nick Chubb was basically telling him it's on you for right now. Baker Mayfield posted something similar on Facebook, like we got your back till you come back, and Nick Chubb said the same thing. Got to go back into the bat cave, but I'll be back. Shit like that. So I'm not that worried, and obviously from the performance we saw of the other guys, that I don't even think we're going to have to utilize them as much as we did this game. I think the reason we did was because Kareem Hunt was coming into this game with the groin injury. But even then, Kareem Hunt, 11 carries, 71 yards, 2 touchdowns. Johnson, 13 carries, 95 yards, looking crazy good out there. And like you said, pretty much everybody except for Hilliard, which, by the way, he also looked good.
No, he's a nice guy. He's a nice back.
He's like a Duke Johnson. You can use him sparingly, and you can use him out of the backfield.
Yep.
And he did exactly what I would have imagined Duke Johnson in this offense would be doing.
I was very impressed with, first of all, I'm not trying to disparage Kareem Hunt. I think Kareem Hunt is awesome, and it's a beautiful situation where your number one back can go down, and then you slide in
a number one back.
Oh, like a number one back, like a top 10 back. And selfishly, I have Kareem Hunt on my fantasy team and not Nick Chubb, so this bodes well for my fantasy team over the next 3, 4, 5 weeks, whatever it may be. I'm confident Nick Chubb will be back after the bye. That's my prediction. I'm going to say right now, where we are 4 games in, we have 4 more games, then we have the bye week. I think he comes back. It'd probably be week 10 at that point, and we have him for the second half of the season, full 8 games coming back. And I think Kareem Hunt is getting the groin healed, and he can carry the load in the meantime. But while we were setting up for this episode, I was watching a highlight video of every Ernest Johnson carry. This dude came into the game He had 26 career rushing yards in the NFL. 26. And you just read the stat line. He came in as a third down back. Probably didn't expect to get any carries in this game because it's been all Chubb and Hunt
so far this entire season.
And he steps in, 13 carries, 95 yards, and I encourage you guys to look up his carries from this game. He's making guys miss. He's being decisive with the ball. He's protecting the ball. He's hitting the holes. He looks great. There was multiple times where he got the ball, and since him and Kareem Hunt both kind of have the dreads and have the same, like the little back padding things on their arms, sometimes he would look like Kareem Hunt.
Sure.
Like, this guy is someone who can fill in fantastically. I just spent a lot of fob trying to get him as my backup to Kareem Hunt for safety in my fantasy. But he is a dude that we can rely on, and he may end up being a really nice piece that we can lean on in the short term. And it all comes back to the offensive line. It all comes back to the scheme, where I think we can rely on Kareem Hunt as that three-down back, and having someone like Ernest Johnson that you can slide in, having a Dontrell Hilliard that you can bring in on passing downs, and he's been with the team for a while. They got a lot of experience. That's the nice thing about this backfield is coming from last year. It's the same four guys.
And the same coach.
Yep. So there's already continuity there. There's chemistry there. The offensive line is dramatically better. And it hurts losing Chubb, but we have the depth in the coaching to where it's not
the biggest concern.
It's not the end of the world.
I think this time last year, or even 2 years from now, losing Nick Chubb would have derailed our season.
Yes. If we would have lost Nick Chubb at this time last year,
or even the year before that,
our season was already derailed. But if we would have lost Nick Chubb 4 games in, like we are right now, then we're screwed. We wouldn't. I mean, even with the same guys in the backfield, we just wouldn't have been able to.
Well, we didn't have the same offensive line either.
No, the offensive line's way different.
Spaghetti version of it.
Yeah, and we have an even keel head coach who's quick to say next man up. We have that connection in the locker room where people are going to fight for each other, and Nick Chubb has the respect of every single man, coach, player, training staff, towel boy.
Yeah.
Nick Chubb has every amount of respect you can imagine from everybody in there. So I think, if anything, to try to make light out of a shitty situation, I think this is going to inspire the offensive line to block that much harder. I think it's going to inspire Hunt to run that much harder, etc.
Baker to put it more on his back, the passing game to put it more on his back. Something to take into account as well. You know, you mentioned the coaching staff sticking to their game plan, really deferring to the next man up mentality, like you said. We were down Kadarius Hodge due to injury. He got injured in the warm-ups. And Rashard Higgins was inactive coming into the game.
Yep.
So those guys really had to step it up. And our coaching staff really had to put trust in them to be able to perform. And they did.
Yeah, and
all around. So that's going to drive our confidence moving forward.
Yeah, and we saw a lot of, speaking of the wide receivers, we saw a lot of Donovan Peoples-Jones in his first appearance in action. He was in the return game, didn't do anything crazy, but obviously didn't do much in the receiving game either, but I did see some highlights of him blocking downfield like a maniac, like really giving a shit.
Sure.
And that's what you love to see out of your 6th round rookie. It is in his first game getting some playing time, and it goes back to that team mentality. And while we're on the subject of the receivers, I can't believe we're 20 minutes in this episode yet and we haven't talked about it, but
OBJ's back. The comeback game. His best performance as a Brown.
3 touchdowns. 2 in the air.
Over 200 overall yards.
I don't think it was over 200. It was like over 150. He had like 80 receiving and 70 rushing. So it's a little over 150 for the game, which is beautiful. But 3 touchdowns. 1 from Jarvis.
I don't know where I saw it.
1 from Jarvis. 1 from Baker. And obviously, the most important one was the reverse at the end of the game, and this is why you have guys that are top paid at their position. This is why this is why you have superstars like OBJ, so that they can make superstar plays when it matters most.
I mean, he put the team on his back, especially in that last drive,
and he got it done. He was huge early, and he was huge late, and
of course we can't forget the pass from his buddy
Jarvis,
the crazy
beautiful
bomb
pass. He tweeted today that he threw 1 pass and his lat feels like
he threw 9 innings.
Which is so funny.
It's hilarious.
But no, I want to say this about OBJ is this is the first game where on that Rowdy ran that he caught the touchdown from Jarvis, on the reverse play that he did to seal the game, this is the first time I've seen him look like the Jarvis from the Giants in terms of his...
The Odell.
The Odell from the Giants. His speed, his body control, his body language, but just most importantly, just his, especially on that reverse, that explosive quickness where he looks like a video game character going faster than anyone else. We haven't seen that. I know last year he was hobbled, but this was the first game where I'm like, that's OBJ.
Sure.
There it is.
Yeah.
And it's a sight to behold.
It was nice to see, man, and we needed it. We needed it for the win. He put it on his back, and all credit to him for that as well. And I mean, Jarvis doing what he needed to do as well to be that support wide receiver, both from a blocking perspective and getting himself 5 receptions for 48 yards.
And he had that
then a touchdown pass. And what were you gonna say?
He had that one really tough catch down the stretch. With the guy hanging on his back. I don't know why we can't get a flag, but
But yeah, that was he had a couple really important catches for the game and got me a nice 16 points in fantasy. Thank you.
That's right. Throwing touchdowns. That's right.
Throwing touchdowns. That was nice. But I think you mentioned earlier the elephant in the room when you were talking about the Nick Chubb injury. But I wanted to talk about another elephant in the room that I think a good portion of the fan base is talking about right now, and that's Baker Mayfield's performance. I would argue, before I kind of tell you what the word down the street is, I would argue Baker's performance was exactly what we needed it to be.
I mean, we won.
Played well, no turnovers, managed the game, 2 touchdowns.
Sup?
Some people have been saying that his performance isn't what we need from a number 1 overall pick.
What do we need?
Well, it's not my opinion, so I can't give you exact examples. But what I'm just to point to one specific thing is obviously that third down pass, shooting it over the top of OBJ when we needed that first down to completely stop the comeback from the Cowboys. Obviously, we stopped them anyways, but you can make the argument it didn't come down to Baker Mayfield. It came down to the rest of the talent on the team. Excuse me.
Yeah,
the rest of the talent on the team.
We've talked.
I mean, he only threw for 165 yards.
That's fair. He threw for 165 yards and won. I'm telling you, this is what's so. You've said it for years now. The Cleveland fan base is addicted to dysfunction, addicted to misery.
It's the only thing we know.
I was listening to 92.3 The Fan this morning on my way into work. Well, I'll admit I was pretty fired up when I woke up, so I was listening to it as I was showering, as I was getting ready, and on my way to work. Browns victory Monday. And they were having people call in, and everyone that called in, no one was fired up. Everyone had something negative to say. And even the hosts, like Ken Carmen or whatever, Tony, other guy, whatever, they were like, guys, what the hell? We're 3-1. We're the Browns. What does this coach speak? What is this? Oh, well, I'm a little concerned about Baker. You're concerned about Baker? We're 3-1. We just scored 49 points. He had no turnovers so far this season.
People are seeing Dak Prescott. People are seeing Patrick Mahomes.
I truly believe that the Browns fans...
People are seeing Lamar Jackson.
It feels to me that Browns fans would have rather the roles been reversed. They'd rather be 1-3 right now with Baker having 3 consecutive 400-plus yard games. They'd feel better about that. And it's like... Let's get the W's. Baker's doing what he's supposed to do. Through the season, Baker Mayfield has 7 touchdown passes, 2 interceptions through 4 games, which if you stretch that over the course of a season, that's 28 touchdowns and 8 interceptions over the course of a season. He's also being
extremely accurate, mind you. Besides like the first game. Well, he's being extremely accurate overall when you're talking about percentages and comparing him to other quarterbacks. He's in the top of the list.
Yeah, he's had some misses, and that's why sometimes...
Everybody has misses.
Well, that's why sometimes I wonder if Browns fans watch other games. Because when they're like, oh, Baker missed OBJ on that out route. And I'm like,
Tom Brady threw his second pick 6 of the season before obviously throwing 5 touchdowns and winning the game.
Yeah, but, I forgot that Patrick Mahomes completes 100% of his passes. I forgot. I mean, he
has gotten pretty close sometimes.
But
bad. Still.
Well, I'm just saying it all comes with managing expectations. I think Baker Mayfield's awesome. He's going to deal with the struggle of Cleveland. We've talked about it before. He's on his 4th head coach, his 4th offensive coordinator in his 3rd season.
All those things matter.
No offseason.
And they make a difference.
No offseason, none of this crap. And now he's doing exactly what he's supposed to be doing in his games. And this is one of the first games where I've really seen him being willing to throw the ball away. He did a few times.
Yeah.
And that's what you need to do in this game. You have to trust your offensive line, trust the turnover battle. I mean, you said the stats earlier where we're leading the NFL in turnover differential. We're leading in defensive takeaways, and I put this, I don't know if we mentioned it, but I think we're leading in points off turnovers as well.
Yes, we are. Yeah.
Okay, so that's when you're in that situation and you're scoring 34 unanswered points, etc., the last thing you want to do is force a ball into tight coverage, throw an interception, give them back that momentum.
Of course.
If you throw the ball away and by the way, we have a really great punter, you play the game of field position. You do it patiently. You don't make those mistakes.
Yeah,
and this is
control the game clock. I think by the end of the game, we had a 10-minute lead almost in time of possession.
Yeah, and this is 2 games in a row now. No turnovers from Baker.
Yeah.
Like, let's take this in steps. The dude's 25. As we've said a million times, you're not fully matured as a quarterback till you're closer to 30. And this dude, now he had trouble with turnovers and interceptions. Well, 2 games in a row without him. 3 games in a row with a victory. We dropped 49 points today. Or Sunday.
Managing the game, managing expectations, and winning football
What do you
games.
want? So Baker should have had a bigger day, and we should have won. We should have scored 56.
Yeah, I mean, I think the problem is we forget there's only one football. We have a ridiculous amount of talent, and when you run the ball for over 300 yards,
well, you can't. And
what kind of game are you expecting from your quarterback?
And this goes back to goddamn Browns fans, where you can't win. Where it's like, you want your quarterback to do more, but all anyone talks about is we need to run the ball.
Don't forget, some of his mechanics are being changed for this year. So if you're expecting
his steps,
this to be a year for Baker to be throwing, 400 plus yards a game, I think your expectations are a little bit.
No, he did. Ridiculous. He did what he needed to do. He's going to keep learning this offense.
And we're 3-1.
And we're 3-1.
And we're winning. We put over 40 on the Cowboys in Dallas.
We scored 49 points. And you're going to sit here and tell me, well, Baker didn't play well. I'm like, that's weird because he was the quarterback of the team that scored 49 points.
Remember when we would lose games to these types of defenses that we should beat?
Yeah.
Remember when we thought OBJ and Jarvis with Nick Chubb in the backfield and David Njoku was going to give us these crazy games against these types of defenses? Well, they're happening.
It's finally happening. And the thing I want to touch on so the defense had its struggles. We haven't talked much about it, but I want to get super into it. Obviously, there needs to be some improvement there, but we're still going against with Dak Prescott, all the weapons they have on offense. That's an insane thing to have to deal with. So that is what it is, and it's obviously disappointing. But what we do have on defense, what we have on this team, is our superstar players are making plays when it matters. We talked about this last week with Myles Garrett making strip sacks late in the game.
But you had another one.
In this game, Myles Garrett had the sack early, which was huge. Dallas got the ball first, and Myles Garrett's able to get a sack on the second play, completely stall out that drive. They have to punt right away. That's big. That's momentum.
Huge.
And then later, he's able to get the strip sack, his 3rd strip sack in a row. 3 games in a row with a strip sack. He's got 5 sacks now in 4 games on the season, playing lights out. And all those plays are crucial. And then you can even go to late in the game, the Cowboys are driving down the field in the red zone.
Another opportunity to put it within 3.
And they're torching us all day. And what happens? Denzel Ward, the guy who's supposed to be like really our only really good player in the secondary.
And by the way, his coverage, I feel like the entire game was crazy good.
Yeah, he's been great. He's got, I think on this season, he's got almost like 10 pass deflections through 4 games. That's incredible. He's able to get the interception to seal the game. And then you look at the offense. We already talked about, Jarvis making that pass. OBJ putting the game on his back, closing it out. Kareem Hunt stepping up with 2 touchdowns. Baker making throws to different receivers, getting Austin Hooper in the end zone, etc. You have these big players that are making big plays in big moments. And you see in the NFL, any game, for the most part, besides blowouts, but really any game can be decided by just a few plays. Mm-hmm. And when you have superstar players and they make those big plays, we saw in this game was decided by a few plays, and those few plays went our way.
Finally.
Dude, they blocked our extra point, and we recovered in the end zone. I know,
that was such a Browns moment, but it worked in our favor.
I've never seen anything like it.
I know. Especially not to the Browns.
After going back in time when we're, 10 years ago, whatever, we're tied with the Ravens, and we're going to try to kick a field goal, and hey, we missed, we go to overtime, and they block it and run it back for a touchdown. Like, having to deal with that to transverse, they block our field goal, and we
somehow get 2 points out of it, yeah.
I don't feel bad for nobody.
No. There was a during their comeback. There was a play where their wide receiver just dropped the ball. He was wide open, probably in motion. Probably would have gotten a big run, a big chunk play, and he didn't make the catch, bobbled it and dropped it. And I'm not gonna lie, I flicked him off. I flicked off my TV screen. I was like, I don't feel bad, and I just flicked him off, which is not the most adult thing to do, to be flicking off 20-something-year-olds through a TV screen.
I don't watch the Browns to be an adult.
That's fair.
That's the last thing I do.
But I'm just coming to terms with what I did.
Dude,
I did it. It's true.
It's true. Well, at least you admit it.
Shame.
Yeah, well, hey, you know
what? But passion.
No regrets.
We scored 40-something points against the Cowboys.
I don't think anyone watching or listening is going to judge you for that. Okay.
But I think you're right. You make a lot of great points specifically about our defense, and obviously there are a lot of things we need to clean up. And we talked about allowing over 30 points for 2 games, and now coming back into this game where we allowed 40. So, it's scary.
Yeah, and we're going to have to keep scoring a lot of points. We've got a big opponent next week. But in general, these are the kind of games you have to win in the NFL, where sometimes you have shootouts. You see it with good teams all the time. Sometimes you have shootouts. Sometimes you have slugfests. Sometimes other strange things can happen. But we've proven now 3 weeks in a row that we can put points on the board. We've gone over 33 games in a row now for the first time since 1968, which is incredible. So
yeah, and to be honest, I look at the rest of our schedule and I'm like,
we have some tough games in there,
but it's mostly our divisional opponents.
We have a good chance in every game. The Colts next week are going to be tough. I look forward to the pregame episode of that.
Sure, they're going to be tough, but the Colts are the type of team, they're winning because they're grinding it. They're not necessarily super talented across the board, I think.
Strong defense.
Top
for
5.
Sure.
Yes.
Good offensive line.
Fair.
We'll get into that next episode,
quarterback.
though.
Raiders, Bengals, obviously the Steelers, Texans, Eagles, the Jags, Titans, which, we took them for granted last year, so they're pretty good. Giants, Ravens, Jets, Steelers again.
Yeah, Giants and Jets are the 2 worst teams in the NFL.
I don't know, man.
We have those. No, it's a very favorable schedule.
Yeah,
but I'm
still looking up, I think, for the Browns.
I'm very excited, but I'm still afraid. So I'm not going to get too excited.
Fair.
I'm going to celebrate the fact that we're 3-1, and the fact that for the first time ever, what our head coach says, our players say. Kevin Stefanski's like, they're 60-minute football games. We're looking at the season in quarters, so we're finishing the first quarter of the season 3-1. Great, cool. There's still 3 quarters to go. So we're transitioning into the second quarter. We got to focus on the Colts. That's a big game. They're business.
There's a plan, and it's being followed top to bottom.
They're keeping it chill. They understand.
It makes you think, maybe we should have just had Kevin Stefanski a few years ago.
But
where would things be?
Well, I still think last year was very important because it was very humbling, and it taught everyone what being a Cleveland Brown is, where it is nothing is going to just magically break your way. It's going to be extremely difficult. You're going to encounter unlucky situations you didn't know were possible, and
ain't that the truth?
I'm serious. It's insane, and it makes you take it for granted, or it makes you not take for granted the fact that every minute of a football game is completely earned, and it can disappear at any freaking second, and we're not going to let up at all. Oh, we're 3-1? I'm not going to get cocky. Last time I got cocky, my whole fucking world collapsed.
Baker said it. I'm tired of effing losing.
Yeah, so we just got to keep it serious, keep it chill.
I'll do whatever it takes.
But so I'm going to say my final thoughts on this game, and then I encourage you to do the same, is this was the most fun I had watching a Browns game, honestly, in memory. I can't think of a time where I had more fun. There's probably some games that we've gone to where we've won and gotten rowdy, but as far as just from start to finish, everything that happened, we were down 14-7. We go on a 34-0 run. They go on a 24-0 run. It looks like classic Browns collapse, but then a superstar like OBJ is able to get the reverse. We're able to close out the game. We had some things go our way, some things that didn't go their way, whatever it was, but we were even keel the whole time. And the fact that we're able to win that game, and then after the game, our coaches and players are not
enough.
They're not impressed.
We can do better.
So it's besides Chubb going out, which still kills me because he's our favorite player. Besides that, but even that we can make light of it with how everyone was able to step up. But besides that, it was the most complete and perfect game I've ever seen from the Browns, and I had a tremendous time watching the game. It was incredible, especially because the whole national media picked us to lose. Everybody picked us to lose this game.
Don't look nationally, look locally.
And
Cleveland.com, every single beat reporter.
Picked us to lose.
Picked us to lose.
Naturally.
Yeah, some of them decidedly so.
Well, guess what?
You all get L's and no points from Quick Predicts.
The turntables. All right,
the turntables.
Your final thoughts on the game before we do our hashtag Kennel Quick Predict results.
As a fan, I agree with you wholeheartedly. I had the most fun watching this game I think I've ever had watching any Cleveland Browns game in my history as a Cleveland Browns fan. As a critical podcast host for the Cleveland Browns, I'm very critical of the performance from the defense. It's crazy to allow 38 points and allow 502 yards from Prescott, but at the same time, still kind of a little bit injured out there, a little hobbled defensively, missing some key guys. We knew Dak Prescott was going to be a threat. We knew this offense lived and died by the pass game, so it's not crazy to think that they committed to it wholeheartedly, especially being down the way they were going into the second half of the game. And we've seen this team come back before from a huge deficit and have a crazy comeback this season. So obviously need to clean up some things defensively, but offensively, man, I love our game plan. I love our offense. I love the type of team we are. We are the Cleveland Browns. We pound the rock. No games. And then some trickery, some fun trickery that usually when we see that, we're talking about, well, for us as super positive podcast people, when we see plays like that don't work, we always go to the default, well, if it would have worked, it would have been awesome. Well, we had a lot of trickery, and they all worked, and it was awesome.
It was so good.
It was so awesome.
So good. We ran two different reverses to Odell that were both highly successful. The reverse to Jarvis thrown it to Odell.
Oh.
And what's nice is those trick plays.
We look so good.
I said my final thoughts, but I'm saying more. What's nice about those trick plays is they're kind of built into the offense. Because we're running.
Testing the eyes of the defense.
Well, and we're running a lot of play action, a lot of bootleg, a lot of jet sweeps and reverses as part of the normal function of the offense. So to work in those trick plays, you're not going out of your way to set that stuff up. It's all kind of within the ebb and flow of the offense.
It has to. That's the only way they work, though. Those are the types of plays that you need to have every piece working and turning the right way in order for them to work.
And it makes them less like trick plays. Sure. It makes them just like we can have a play where we line up.
It's not trick plays as much as it is testing the eyes of the defense and making sure they're disciplined.
We can have a play where we push Chubb up to fullback and have Jarvis come in at tailback, and then we just pound it up with Chubb real quick. And then we give another play where on a fake, Odell's pulling around, but we're just still running the ball with Chubb.
Because
but then all of a sudden,
every single one of those guys with the ball in their hand is
are dangerous. Yeah. So we're doing all that nice. And what we're starting to see, too, we saw this in a little bit in the football team game. It's still weird to say. In the Dallas game, we're seeing that Baker's, like, when he actually hands the ball off and does his, like, boot to the outside, that's drawing defenders because we run that play action so often.
And he tends to move that way anyway.
So it's getting so hard for defenses where you're pulling receivers, you're running bootlegs. Is it a handoff? Is it a play action? We have the defense so on there that we're just 7 yards on the ground, 10 yards on the ground, 5 yards, play action over the top. It's everything I've wanted to see in an offense my entire life.
It's fun. It's fun. It's fun. Let's have some fun with Kennel Quick Predicts.
Let's do it. Let's do
Kennel
the
Quick
results.
Predicts.
Quick Predicts. Okay, so we're going to go over the rules for Kennel Quick Predicts.
Yeah.
Because we do that sometimes. So what are the rules?
I just said it.
What are the rules?
Oh, I'll say it.
That's what I'm saying. What are the rules? I want to clarify this.
Okay, so they're Price is Right rules.
Okay.
So it means closest to the stat line without going over.
So your prediction can't go over what actually happened. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And then we
do have some exceptions where sometimes
we can make it up a little.
How many passing yards does Baker have? And somebody goes like 358 and he had 356. They went over, but like, come on.
Yeah, what are you going to do? And then, so how it works is you and I are competing against each other.
And then the audience isn't a free-for-all.
You guys are competing against each other. So this week we had 5 participants. We had 2 on Twitter, KCK at Casey Kinneman, who was won last week.
The MVP of last week.
Aaron Rathbun at Bossy Cucumber,
on Twitter,
which is awesome.
Yeah.
Bossy Cucumber, it's hilarious. On YouTube, Patrick and Brian, and Brian's also Brian Evansick on Twitter. And then a text from our friend Krista Gray, who sent me his Kennel Quick Predicts via text message.
Oh, okay.
Which I will. I know you didn't know. I forgot. I added them in though, so we're.
Oh, I see. You
Yes.
did? I don't see them here.
While we were podcasting, maybe you need to refresh because I can see them on my screen.
That's possible.
That is possible. So we have that going. So with that being said, we're going to roll into it. The first one being the classic segment of Myles Garrett sacks.
The most important one, pivotal to the quick predict segment.
Pivotal. I was conservative in this one. I shouldn't have been. I said 1. You said 2. The actual being 2.
Back to back.
Most surprising, none of our respondents said 2, except for Chris DeGray coming in last minute with the text saying 2.
So Chris DeGray is the winner.
He gets the points.
The audience.
Congratulations, brother.
Good for you, Chris. Thanks for texting us your quick predicts. Maybe get a Twitter or something.
Yeah, maybe get a Twitter. Maybe comment on YouTube. We'd appreciate that. Thumbs up, notification bell, just saying.
Next important quick predict would be Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield was pivotal to our win against the Cowboys, so our quick predict was Baker Mayfield passing touchdowns. We were both expecting Baker to have a crazy game. We thought this would be a breakout game, but you still went relatively conservative with the touchdowns. Guessed 2. I guessed 3. Wanted that bigger game from him, but the actual is 2, so you get this one, sir.
Yeah, I predicted more passing yards, but thought that in the red zone we would still end up scoring with the running game. But obviously we didn't. The offense did what it's done the past few games. So
we are consistent.
Everyone did pretty well with this one. Everyone but Aaron. So Casey, Patrick, Brian, Chris all guessed 2 points for all of you guys.
Points.
Making it rain out here.
Anyways, we're on to Dak Prescott stats. This is a little harder to do. Price is Right rules, but
Yeah, we should probably reconsider how we lay these down. But that's okay.
I think just closest to the stat line. But anyways, I think nobody was here.
No, not really.
Nobody got even close to.
No one wanted to say 500 yards and 4 touchdowns for the opposing quarterback.
So he went 4 touchdowns, 502 yards, 1 interception. So neither of us got the points on that. And then the audience, same thing. I do want to call out 2 guys. 2 guys that said, I don't give a fuck, basically, about Dak Prescott.
Aaron
said, I don't care on Twitter. I'm not even going to give a guess. And then Chris also, he doesn't wear brown and orange. He doesn't matter.
Chris DeGray said, quote unquote, fuck Dak Prescott. He doesn't wear brown and orange. He doesn't matter.
So you're not wrong, Chris.
That's a strong answer. Give him a point for that.
You get a point for that.
1 point for that. I think
and
that's
Aaron,
fair.
you too for not caring.
That's fair.
Next, we go to Jarvis or Odell, who will get more fantasy points. This is, we went by specifically my ESPN PPR league.
Yep.
So,
but no matter what,
it didn't matter which way you looked at it. It was Odell, obviously. So you go that one. I went with Jarvis. You went with Odell. You get the points for that. Points for you, good sir.
And then everyone but Aaron again. So Casey,
everyone
Patrick, Brian,
but Aaron.
Chris. Yep.
Everybody gets points.
So come on, Aaron. I think you got these all wrong, brother.
Good for you guys.
No, he got one. He got nothing.
No, he's out. He got Myles Garrett sacked.
No,
he didn't.
Nope, he got nothing.
He got nothing.
You got them all wrong, buddy.
That's okay.
That's all right.
Okay.
Keep playing. You're kind of like the Browns. I mean, they've turned it around.
They can turn it around.
You can too. So just tune in next episode and we'll try again.
Next, Browns turnovers forced. Super important. You went conservative on this one as well.
I was.
You went with 1 fumble.
Yep.
I called it just how it was.
You did say 1
3
interception,
turnovers, 1 interception, 2 fumbles, and the interception got us the game. I didn't predict that, but we can pretend I did.
And that's exactly what happened.
So points for me. Points for me.
Points for you, of course. And then the other guys weren't as specific, but Casey, Patrick, Chris all said 3. So you guys all get
points.
I'll get some points as well.
Points.
And it's funny going into the final score. So no one was dead on with the score. I mean, we'll get into you and I, but I just want to point out before we say it, we talked about how the national media all picked the Cowboys. We talked about how the local beat writers all picked the Cowboys. Well, us and everyone who participated with our show all picked the Browns.
Because we're all winners, we all get points.
Because we're real Browns
So
fans.
before we even get into the final score specifically and who won the quick predict, everybody wins when the Browns win. Everybody gets points.
Making it rain out here.
Point city. And now the actual score line. You guessed Browns 31, Cowboys 28. I guessed Browns 36, Cowboys 29.
So you're technically closer between us.
Price is right. I didn't go over, and I'm closest in both the Browns and the Cowboys. Browns obviously scored 49, Cowboys 38. And from you guys, Casey, again.
He did pretty good. 40,
he did.
40,
Browns 40,
38.
Cowboys 38. He nailed the Cowboys.
Nailed it.
Spot on, and the only one to say Browns over 40 or 40 or above.
Yeah, no, he did great.
So Casey,
he's pretty good.
You're getting another bit of points for that one, but everybody gets points when the Browns win. Everybody wins when the Browns win.
Everybody wins.
Just because I wanted to keep track, I won this week.
I don't think
predicts between me and you.
Correct.
And Casey, back-to-back wins. He was the MVP of last week.
But I don't think you beat
So
me.
Casey _Kinnaman on Twitter, MVP winner of last week, and he gets it again from the audience this week. And then, of course, me back-to-back wins as well.
Debatable.
Quick predicts. Don't forget to use the hashtag Kennel Quick Predicts. Every time we do quick predicts, we do them on our preview episodes.
That's right.
We have lots of fun, and then we give out lots of points that don't matter and maybe get you prizes, but really they don't.
Take him to Vegas. See if they accept them.
They might.
You might get lucky.
You might
and
have one of
find
the.
that,
Maybe they have like a Coinstar machine, but it's like Kennel Quick Predict
points
machine.
That'd be incredible.
Yeah,
that would be very impressive.
We keep track of them somewhere,
but not really.
Yeah,
that's the thing. It's kind of like
we should build like a bank, but it's like Kennel Quick Predict
cryptocurrency. Whoa!
And how do you get it?
You can only mine them by winning Kennel Quick Predicts on this show. We might be onto something.
Yeah, big brain time here at Kennel.
That's
it's getting to that point in the night where we're talking about cryptocurrency.
Yeah. Do you know how daisy chains work?
Absolutely.
That's not what they're called.
Blockchains.
Now, daisy chains when you like plug in an extension cord into another extension cord into like a power strip.
That sounds right.
Yeah, it might be something else. Anyways, I think
you're here for football, specifically Browns football.
But maybe for cryptocurrency, for Kennel coins.
Maybe
Kennel
if you're
coins.
Drunk, high, and lost on YouTube.
Kennel coins.
Kennel Quick Predict coins.
It'll be good.
We'll figure it out.
All right, I think we've done enough damage here today. So
yeah, it's getting to that point in the night.
We're gonna wrap it up here. Make sure you tune in most likely Thursday. For the pregame episode of the Colts. The Colts are 3-1. It's going to be a huge game.
Very important game. Is it back at home? Is this one?
Yep, and they're allowing 12,000 fans in now. So double capacity. Browns and Colts, 2-3-1 AFC teams. So definitely a big matchup there. They have a top 5 defense, really strong offensive line. Love to pound the ball. Veteran and Phillip Rivers. It's not going to be an easy game.
Phillip Rivers, who just threw for 4 touchdowns.
Yeah, not going to be an easy game. I think it's going to be a super fun matchup.
He's thrown 4 touchdowns.
That makes more sense.
And 3 interceptions.
So Baker's actually got better stats. But I thought Baker would be God. All right, so that's going to be a lot of fun. Make sure you tune in for that. In the meantime, follow us on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook at Football Kennel. If you're on YouTube, hit the notification bell, subscribe. And if you want to help out the show, it's probably here. And if you want to help out the show, the best thing you can do is just share it with your friends. It's that simple. It's very simple.
And also strangers.
Strangers
out on the street.
Share it with strangers.
Most important part.
Like if you go into your contacts list and there's like random people you haven't talked to in a long time, just hit them with the Kennel.
Yeah.
Just hit them
or
with
an
the
ex-girlfriend you haven't talked to in a few years that maybe you ghosted.
Hit her with the Kennel.
Hit her with the Kennel.
No other explanation, just...
Kennel, Quick Predicts. Wait, just Kennel.
Well,
I'm sorry, YouTube channel.
No,
Kennel.
just send them the episode.
Or the podcast if you prefer that.
Whatever you're into.
Yeah.
And we'll do that. All right,
Rate
guys.
us 5 stars on Apple Podcast. That matters.
Yeah, apparently.
For some reason.
All right, cool. That's about it. All right, cool.
Go Browns.
Go Browns.